Welcome back to the deep dive. We love to get requests, and this time we're diving into something a listener specifically asked about. How the stuff in your house, just your regular stuff, can actually affect your energy levels, and at the time, even hold you back from success. I know it sounds kind of out there, right? But they sent over some really interesting sources about this, and I gotta admit, at first I was totally skeptical. But the more I thought about it, the more I started to see how this could be a real thing.
It's definitely fascinating, right? Like, we all know our environment affects us. Like, duh, sunshine good, dark room, maybe not so good. But this goes deeper. These sources, they're suggesting there's like a real energy component to all this.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to unpack today, so let's jump right in. The first thing these sources talk about is clothing and clutter. Getting rid of worn-out clothes, clearing the clutter under your bed, that kind of stuff. Where do you stand on that?
Well, even if we just forget about the whole energy thing for a second, there's actually some pretty solid psychology behind all that. Like, think about it when you're wearing clothes that are all faded and pilled and just don't fit right anymore. How does that make you feel? You might not even realize it, but it can make you feel less confident, like you're not put together.
Oh, totally. I've definitely noticed that. If I'm wearing something that makes me feel kind of frumpy, I just don't have that same energy,
Right. Right, and it's the same with the clutter under the bed. It's like this hidden space we all have that can just become a dumping ground for all kinds of stuff, both literal and figurative. The sources talk about it representing unfinished business and like stagnant energy that can actually weigh you down without you even realizing it.
Interesting. So you're saying even if you don't believe in the whole energy thing, there's still a real psychological effect of having that clutter around.
Absolutely. Your subconscious is constantly processing all that stuff, even if you're not aware of it. And that can totally drain your mental energy and make it harder to focus on what you want to achieve.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like when you have a million tabs open on your computer, it just slows everything down.
Yeah.
So what about the advice to get rid of expired cosmetics and worn out shoes? Where does that fit in?
Oh, this is a good one. This is all about self-care and how that ties into our energy. The sources say that using expired products or wearing shoes that are literally falling apart, it sends a message to yourself that you're not worth taking care of.
I never thought about it like that. But yeah, I could see the logic. It's like those little things are a symbol for how much we value ourselves.
Exactly. And sure, one pair of ratty shoes might not seem like a big deal, but those small acts of, neglecting yourself, they add up over time, and they can really affect your energy and how you see the world.
So it's not about the actual objects, it's about what they represent on a deeper level.
Bingo. And that's where this idea of symbolic baggage comes in. Like, objects can actually hold emotional weight and even energetic imprints from the past. Like, if you're holding on to clothes that remind you of a really tough time, they might be draining your energy every time you see them.
Well, that's kind of blowing my mind. I'm definitely going to pay more attention to what I keep around from now on. But before we move on, I'm curious, what really stood out to you when you were reading these sources?
Honestly, the thing that surprised me the most was how much emphasis they put on unfinished projects and how that can block your creative energy. And that really resonated with me because I used to have this whole drawer full of craft supplies and half-finished projects, and it was like this constant nagging weight on my mind. But once I finally let go of all those projects and cleared out that drawer, oh my gosh, I felt this huge sense of relief, and my creativity just flowed again.
It's like you freed up space for all that new inspiration.
Exactly. And that's what's so powerful about this whole concept. It's not just about decluttering for the sake of having a clean house. It's about creating a space that really supports you and lets your energy flow the way it's supposed to.
I love that. So how does that energy flow idea connect to what these sources say about old books and unused electronics and those dreaded unfinished projects?
Well, they all kind of represent different things, but they often symbolize being stuck or clinging to the past. Think about all those books you bought with the best intentions but never actually read, or that drawer full of old gadgets you'll probably never use again. They take up physical space, sure, but they also take up space in your mind and your energy.
I'm seeing a pattern here. It's like anything that represents unfinished business or something we're holding on to can really drag us down.
Exactly. And the sources, they even bring up the sunk cost fallacy, which is, that thing where you keep putting time and energy into something even though it's not working anymore. And that can apply to unfinished projects, sure, but also relationships, jobs, even beliefs that you've outgrown.
So letting go of those things, both physically and mentally, can actually free up your energy for new experiences and opportunities.
You got it. And that's where the idea of abundance comes in. When you clear out that old stagnant energy, You create space for new positive energy to come into your life. But it's not just about getting rid of stuff, it's about being mindful of what you bring into your space and how it makes you feel. Does it uplift you, inspire you, or does it make you feel kind of weighed down?
Such a great way to think about it.
Hmm.
So it's not just about decluttering. It's about creating a space that really reflects who you are and what you want in your life.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final points in the sources, which are all about creating a restful and nurturing environment.
Ooh, I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Okay, so they suggest replacing worn bedding and towels. And I gotta say, that kind of threw me. Like, I get that fresh sheets feel nice, but what's the connection to, like, energy and abundance?
It's subtle, but it's powerful. The sources say it's a way of honoring yourself, creating a space that really takes care of you. Think about it when you climb into bed with those fresh, soft sheets. How do you feel?
Like I'm at a spa,
Yeah.
like total luxury.
Exactly. It's that feeling of being cared for, and it can totally shift your energy. Like you're sending this message to your subconscious, hey, I deserve this. I'm worthy of comfort and rest. And then on the other hand, sleeping on rough, scratchy sheets, even if you don't really notice it, it can make you feel kind of uneasy.
Right, right. I can see that. It's like all those little things add up to the overall energy of the space. Okay, so what about decorations? The sources also say to get rid of anything that brings up bad memories or negative feelings.
Yeah, this is where things get really interesting. They're saying objects can actually hold energetic imprints. And if you're surrounded by things that remind you of tough times, it's like they're keeping you energetically tied to the past.
So it's like they're holding you back from moving forward.
Exactly. And listen, it's important to honor your past, but you don't want to be weighed down by it,
No.
The sources say to be really intentional about what you choose to have in your home. Surround yourself with things that make you feel good, things that inspire you, things that represent what you want in your life.
That makes a lot of sense. Like creating a visual representation of the life you want to build.
Yeah.
But what if you have things that are sentimental that have both good and bad memories attached to them?
Yeah.
Like, do you have to get rid of everything that has even a little bit of sadness to it?
That's a great question, and I think it comes down to your intuition. Like, the point isn't to erase your past or pretend that hard things didn't happen. It's more about being aware of the energy you're inviting into your space. So if something brings up way more negative feelings than positive ones, maybe it's time to let it go. But if it's something you really love, even if it has a complicated past, maybe you can find a way to reframe it or display it in a way that feels more empowering.
So it's all about being aware of how those objects make you feel.
Exactly. Trust your gut on this one. This whole energy thing can feel kind of abstract, so pay attention to what feels right for you.
I like that. Okay, so before we wrap things up, I want to go back to the listener who sent us these sources. They were specifically asking about how this all relates to success. How would you explain that?
It's about creating an environment that supports your goals and dreams. When you clear out the clutter, both the physical stuff and the energetic stuff, it creates space for new opportunities and abundance to come in. And they also talk about how surrounding yourself with objects that represent your goals, it can actually help you attract what you want.
So it's like setting the stage for success, but not just in a practical way, in an energetic way too.
Exactly. Aligning your space with your vision for your life.
Okay, I love that. So as we bring all this together, what are the main takeaways for our listener today? What do you hope they'll remember?
I hope they'll start to see their home in a new way and see how it can really affect their happiness and their success. And I hope they feel like they can actually make changes that will help them achieve their goals and create a space that feels really good to be in.
Awesome takeaway. It's not about following some strict rules. It's about being aware of the energy you're creating in your own home.
Right. It's about making your space a reflection of who you are and who you want to be.
I feel like my mind is blown wide open. I'm already thinking about changes I want to make in my own place.
I love that. Even small changes can make a big difference.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final question for our listeners to think about. If you could wave a magic wand and transform one thing about your home right now to feel more energized or inspired, what would it be? Take a minute and really picture it. What would you change? And how would it feel to live in that space?
That's such a great question. It helps you connect with what you really want and figure out what's important to you. And sometimes, just thinking about it, that's the first step to actually creating a space that you truly love.
Totally. It's like planting a seed for change. And even if you can't make everything perfect overnight, you could start small. Maybe it's clearing off your desk, finally going through that pile of clothes you never wear, or adding a few plants to freshen things up.
Absolutely. It's all about taking action one step at a time. Each little thing you do adds up, and before you know it, you've made a huge difference.
And remember, it's not about being perfect or comparing your home to other people's. It's about creating a space that feels right for you. A space that supports your dreams and makes you feel good.
That's what it's all about. Making choices that feel right and create a sense of peace and well-being in your home. And that's going to look different for everyone.
This has been so interesting. A huge thank you to the listener who sent us these amazing sources. I know I learned so much, and I hope you did too.
Always fun to explore these topics and see how everything connects.
And to all our listeners out there, don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more deep dives into the power of your mind and the world around you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep creating spaces that inspire you.
It really is. It can help you figure out like what you actually want in your space. And sometimes, just having that aha moment, that's all it takes to get started.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like that first step towards making a change. Okay, so even if we can't just magically transform our homes overnight, where do we even begin? What are some small steps we can take?
Well, I think it depends on what resonated with you the most. Maybe it's clearing off one surface like your desk or your kitchen counter. Or finally going through that pile of clothes, the one I'm talking about, the one you never wear. Or even just bringing in a couple of plants to freshen things up.
Yeah, like little things can make a big difference. It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about taking action and letting that build momentum. And each little step adds to the next one, and then all of a sudden you've made some real changes.
And it's your space, right? So it's got to feel right for you. It's not about comparing yourself to other people or trying to be like those picture-perfect homes you see online.
I totally agree. It's all about creating a space that reflects who you are and what you want.
This deep dive has been so interesting. Big thank you to the listener who sent in these sources. You really got us thinking.
Yeah, this was a good one.
And to everyone listening out there, don't forget to subscribe to The Deep Dive for even more deep dives into the power of your mind and the world around you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep creating spaces that inspire you.